Welcome back to the Side Dish Podcast, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. Our good friend Chuck is in the house. He's the owner of Cali Kitchen in Kyungridan. Been the owner there for 7 years now you've been in business?
Yeah, it's about 7 years.
And this is also like our 40th episode, so it's kind of a special episode. It's funny, Chuck, we call ourselves a Side Dish Podcast partly because I had imagined when we came up with the name that we'd kind of interview people in F&B, because I just know so many of you guys.
Right.
But then because of COVID restrictions and stuff, it just bringing people in for interviews wasn't a tenable practice. Yeah. So you're actually our first F&B guest.
So you guys have like a food named podcast, Side Dish, and I'm your first F&B guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that I have so much that I want to talk to you about. So Chuck is the owner of California Kitchen and Restaurant, or what's the full name of it?
California Kitchen and Craft Pub.
Yeah, and Craft Pub. There we go.
I mean, for short, we just call it Cali Kitchen. Mm-hmm. And also Gentleman Chicken, which is 미국 양반 통닭,
Let's take a trip down memory lane back to 2014.
It's 2015, according to my Instagram post of our signage going up.
Oh, wow. Ooh. I remember that.
Yeah.
So simple. Yeah, so just for a quick primer, I met Chuck in 2015 then, just walked into your restaurant, had a burger and a burrito, was blown away by these flavors. I just hadn't had it before, in Korea especially. And then, there was a few other locals in that area that we'd go at least twice a week. I literally think I went twice a week for a good year and a half.
Right.
And it was like your chili was really good. The burgers were amazing. And I liked the burritos because I also had never had a burrito like the ones you make, where you don't melt the cheese, you put the corn in it. And these are things that I feel like coming from California, I'm so used to a mission style kind of sloppy burrito, really wet. And then yours was very not dry as in a bad way, but it wasn't melted,
But you're coming from NorCal, right?
I am, right?
Yeah. So there is a little bit of a NorCal, SoCal differentiation, I think.
True.
And again, we always approach food as we're inspired by what we know from, home, California, but also we're trying to do something, hopefully we're hey, this is what we think,
Yeah.
And again, we had our own reasons for doing things. Sometimes it was hit it out of the park. Sometimes it's just, no, this is just the way we want to do it,
Yeah. Because, so remind me though, I feel like I know this about you. So you went to UC Irvine. You actually overlap with a few of my friends from church, like Grace Park and Michelle Che. You know them from your church.
Yeah.
You also went to Irvine. But you were basically just cooking for fun in college, right? You were just good at it, I guess. You never had did you work at restaurants when you were in college?
No. Actually, so I was always a food guy since high school.
Okay.
So even when I was going to school in Irvine, my parents, we had a place in Garden Grove. And so for 4th of July, there was one year I had 200 people come to my house throughout the course of a day. So I start my barbecue at noon, but we go till midnight. So it's and I had this thing where I was every hour we're gonna release a new thing off the grill.
Yeah.
So if you
stick around, then you get
so
taste of
I
everything.
called it the secret midnight steak,
okay,
and that was
cool.
if you stayed the whole day, you get the secret midnight steak. And so but it was insane because not only we had a lot of food.
Yeah.
Would you charge a cover fee for the barbecue to cover the cost, the overhead?
No, I would just extort my parents or something.
Be Mom, it's gonna make me popular. It's worth the investment.
But the crazy part of it was the food plus the people and the stuff we did, the fireworks. We had balls of fire, wheelbarrowing down the street. Mm-hmm. We had firefighters, roll up with their fire truck, cuss us out, and then be "Hey, this better not be here when we come back."
And this is back in high school, starting in high school.
Yeah, high school.
Wow, I don't know any high school because I feel like my friends and we started cooking at 26.
Cooking, yeah. I thought you were talking about fireworks.
Oh no.
So, yeah,
Katy Perry.
Wait, so then you came out to Korea. Did you have the restaurant in mind when you moved out here? Was that kind of the goal?
So I actually came to Korea because of a job offer. I used to work in cosmetics.
So
that was the main reason I came to Korea. I was the opposite, where I always thought it was at least this was pre-coming to Korea. If somebody asked me would you want to go to Korea because either connect with your roots or take some time to do this thing, I always dissed it a bit.
Yeah.
I was
so did I. Yeah.
I was first of all, like that's for people who don't know what they want to do, and like they kind of just want to like goof off, or like I'm like, why would I do that? You know, I'm like never like, don't put me in that category. I'm not going to Korea. That's like a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's where I stood, and then but yeah, I came because of a job offer.
Wow.
And then just
But then like within a year of getting that job offer, basically had transitioned into making that decision, right?
Yeah. So I mean, basically within a year, because I got to the company. The company had been around for a year and a half. It's like a startup, you know. And then the goal was to set up the base in Korea and then expand over Asia. So I was like, oh man, like I have a lot of international experience at that point. It's going to be really interesting, challenging, fun. I was having a good time in Korea, but the main thing was like the vision changed like 9 months later. So by then, I was already planning to transition out. I was talking with some friends from church, and I was like, hey, I just want to do something fun before I leave. And that's when I did a pop-up, you know. And
I think I remember you doing pop-ups first, yeah. Where were those pop-ups? Were they in that space or?
No, so the first pop-up I did was I think it was in Tangsan. It was at a friend's little like restaurant. Out of that place, I did a one-day pop-up called Stuff You Can't Eat in Korea. And it was just like, at that time, there was like nobody knew what a pop-up was. Like now you're like, oh, I'm doing a pop-up.
Yeah.
Like people be like, oh, that sounds interesting. What are you doing, you know?
It's crazy because, yeah, and as far as like food entrepreneurs go, Korea has such a really interesting scene. Interesting enough to warrant its own like Netflix show or something. Because the way that the scene has grown, like, and trends have picked up so fast in Korea and then gone out of style in like 4 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can name probably like 3 or 4, like fucking churros were fucking huge at one point. Grilled cheese sandwiches were really big at one point. And then like a summer later, you never hear from them ever again.
Right.
So like, you know, you being one of those first pioneers to be like, yeah, like you can't get good chili in Korea. At that time, you couldn't even get a good burger. Like there was Kraze burger. Some people would swear by, you know, like the burger at, what's it called? Seoul Club. You know what I mean? Like the options weren't very big, you know?
Right.
And also, surprisingly, there were no In-N-Out knockoffs. This is before...
Cry cheese.
Yeah, before Cry ever opened. So I remember having your burger and it tasted similar to a In-N-Out burger. But then I actually ordered your burger the other night just to do a taste test to like refresh myself. And I was like, no, this doesn't taste like In-N-Out. It tastes like Cali Kitsch. Like it's a very unique taste.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we'll get into your burger later. So you did this pop-up and it was well received, I assume.
Yeah.
Was it the same kind of menu, like chili, burgers, burritos?
No. So my initial pop-up was actually, it was I called it omakase dining. You know, it's kind of like a term you use in, when you usually get sushi, right? Where the words mean, I entrust this to you. And you're just like, hey, chef, give me what's good, you know? And so I just did a lot of stuff. Like I did Argentinian skirt steak with chimichurri sauce. I did like this burrata cheese 2 ways. I had like some drinks that I pair with everything. Like it was, you know, it was a little course meal with drink pairing. Again, that's kind of like the response from that event made me consider, like, so this was on my way out of Korea. And so this was like a last hurrah type thing. And then after I did it, I got a lot of messages. People were like, hey, like you should consider doing something in Korea. And then I left back to California thinking I'm not going to come back. But while I was there, just thinking about it, I was like, maybe I should try something. And that's actually something my grandma told me. She's like, if you ever do food business or whatever, make sure you love feeding people, you know? That always stuck with me.
Wow. Yeah. So then you open up the first brick and mortar location in Kyungridan when it was like not even a popular destination, right? I feel like in 2015, Kyungridan was Magpie there at that time? I can't remember. I feel like Magpie opened that same summer as you did.
So Magpie had been around before.
Okay.
I came a bit later into the scene after after a lot of these guys.
Were there any big influences when you were opening, or did you have any enlightening conversations with other Kyopo restaurateurs?
So the big one for me was Linus, probably.
But this is even before Linus opened up. He was just doing pop-up stuff, right?
No. I think Linus, I forget when he exactly opened up his retail location, but he did pop-ups for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember his pop-ups for sure. Yeah.
And then he opened up his retail location, and he had a line out the door from day one.
I remember. It was crazy.
So that was kind of one of the things that I really admired, because even for me, like a pop-up or kind of like a private dining restaurant, or that kind of a concept, it's stuff I already saw in LA, and I was just like, no one's doing this in Korea.
Right.
There wasn't infrastructure for it like now. Like people have a concept for it.
Yeah.
But initially I thought, maybe I will do a little bit more of like the omakase dining stuff or some more fancy food. But I realized, like, that's not a restaurant that an average person's going to walk into. Like, as I was doing stuff in HBC, I think I called one of the events Chuck Potle, because I did like the burrito bowl, and burritos,
Yeah.
And like, as I was doing it, I think I got a sense for like, hey, I guess I just really want to do food that I missed. Like, that's just done, what I deem proper.
Yeah, what you're craving.
Yeah.
And you got a good response too, because there was definitely enough LA kyopos or California kyopos that were craving that same food, for sure.
Right.
If you're comfortable sharing, how much did it cost to start your first brick and mortar? Like, sunk cost, just to like get the lease, renovate the space, buy some equipment, like all in. Because I'm asking for a friend of mine who's also a chef and is Korean American and has thought about opening something in Korea, but just because opening in New York for him just is out of the question, is too expensive.
Right.
How much did it kind of cost here?
So the owner of the lease was one of the owners of the booth.
Oh, the Booth Pizza.
The Booth Pizza.
Whoa.
And this place was called From Hunza, which was, I guess, I think it's Pakistani, but it's if you look up Hunza, it'll probably link to some country, and that's the curry.
I see. So it was a Pakistani curry spot. And for the listeners out there, some of you listening will remember this. It was like a baby blue interior where the seats were boxes made to look like gifts, like little blue presents.
It's like Tiffany blue.
Yeah, it was Tiffany blue. It was just the most bizarre kind of cognitive dissonance when you walk in, because you're like, you see the sign Cali Kitch outside, and then you see Chuck behind the counter, but everything else just looks kind of almost childish. It looks like a playroom almost,
Right. But I kind of liked it because of, like, it was such a polarizing look for the place.
Yeah.
So I had people come in telling me, like, what are you doing? This doesn't look like a burger place or restaurant. And they would kind of like try to tell me to change it. And I'm like, first of all, I can't change it. I'm not renting it. Yeah, I'm subletting, right? So they don't understand, right?
Yeah.
The other half of the people were like, I love it. Like, we had people book like whole bridal showers and stuff, and they're like, I'm glad because I don't even have to decorate. This place looks amazing.
It looks like pretty. You know,
I feel like that would kill like in the Instagram.
So this
dominated
pre-Instagram.
People would go just to take pictures.
Yeah.
Actually, people did.
Yeah.
So I think, giving credit to, the people from the booth or from Hunza, whoever set that interior up, that was their thinking, like the girls will love it. And the girls did.
Yeah, I see. But so wait, but how much did it cost? How much did you have to put up?
No,
to open
but
the
see, that's what I'm saying.
Because he had to lease,
Because if you're subletting, there isn't really like there isn't a deposit potentially,
True,
right? Because if you're like, if someone's renting out a room from you, you're just charging them rent,
Right.
So actually, the startup cost was very minimal at the time, relatively,
And then it just kind of got more and more as you moved to the new space.
Yeah, so that was the bigger jump, Because after 2 years in that space, we were like, okay, like we got to get out of this space, and I actually didn't even know if I was gonna open at that space,
So let's move there. So then, your new space was 2017. I remember it so well because it's a glorious space. It's where you still are today. Really good location, lots of parking. It was such a huge upgrade. And that's also when Kyungridan became just really popular. Or maybe I'm wrong, because I live behind Kyungridan. And But I just recall it's like that's when, Namsan Chemistry was opening up and more microbrews.
So Namsan Chemistry came a way later. Actually, when I was moving in there, it was actually, Kyungridan was taking a down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so as an example, the person that was in my space before me, they were paying double the rent.
I remember that restaurant too. It was like a brunch spot.
Yeah, it was a brunch spot. And the guy kind of got into it without knowing what he was getting into.
Yeah, it wasn't that good, to be honest. Yeah.
But he was paying about like $5 million
a month.
Wow. You know? And I mean, even for me, just to even get it to half, like I had to talk to the owner and be like, was like selling her my business. Like, this is what we want to do. Like, can you help us? And she liked me enough where at the time, she thought, oh, it would probably still go back up. But actually, from there, it did go down it had lots of ups and downs, I would say. But Kyungridan was the place that people actually told me not to open. They were like, yeah, you should get out. You know, like it doesn't make sense over there, you know?
Yeah, I bet they were actually saying like, yo, go to the street behind Hamilton or something. Because that was a pretty popular street at the time.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of places that were either up and coming or already hot. They were like, these places make more sense. Kyungridan, it's kind of like withering away. That's how people have felt for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were times where, you know, in the past couple years where it took bigger hits, right? And it's just like, oh man, Kyungridan because of COVID or whatever. I don't know why, but for me, I always felt like, dude, this is my neighborhood now, you know?
For sure.
And so that connection, I was like, we're going to be, and I feel like in a weird way, maybe this is like just, you know, speaking it into fruition. But I always said, hey, like we're going to be the place that people come to Kyungridan for.
Right.
And now I feel like we're like a fixture, you know? Like
I would agree with that. I definitely think you're a fixture.
I'm a complete noob to Korea, but that was the first thing that I went to in Kyungridan was Kalikich.
I mean, I feel like also when when new Kyopos come to, especially Itaewon, and meet other Kyopos, it's like there's a few places you have to go to, right?
Right. And I
like,
mean, to be fair, we have a mutual friend, James, who he told me about Kalikich and I was like, oh, I want to try it sometime. And we went together. And then that's where I kind of met Chuck.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Chuck, that's when you added the craft beer. The craft beer part became way bigger in, I think, your business model when you moved to the new spot. And I'm curious to see what you think about now. Like, do you think craft beer has really kind of landed and is here to stay in Korea? Or, because, you know, you have other guys like Doug's doing his Toki Soju stuff and like maybe we're moving more towards the spirits. I personally feel like cocktail culture has kind of gone down since the peak of like 2018, 2017. But what's your feeling on craft beer these days?
So I guess I was always interested in craft beer, and one of the things that people always forget is Kyungridan is where craft beer started.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Yeah.
Like, this was like the birthplace of craft beer in Korea.
Yeah.
And so for me, that has to mean something, you know? And that's why I love that Magpie's still holding down the fort.
I know, it's crazy.
And that like should mean something. I mean, Kraftwerks is gone, and the booth is not really the same thing anymore, you know?
I totally forgot about Kraftwerks. That's insane. Yeah.
But these guys were the ones who started it, you know, in Kyungridan. And for me, part of like even at the old Kyungridan spot, we had a couple beers, but we couldn't have that much on tap, you know? We didn't have enough like circulation at that point. But one of the things that I wanted to do or honor was as we moved to the new location, I wanted to do craft beer like properly. But also, I was like, hey, this street is known for craft beer. Like, I still want to add to that scene. And what's interesting now is that there's so much good craft beer in Korea that most of our tap list is not imported now.
Yeah.
You know? And my whole thing is like, we want to tap stuff. Like, the reason why we don't carry a lot of Magpie beer is because we're like, hey, Magpie's down the street.
Yeah.
We tell people to go there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we see that as our kind of role as kind of ambassadors to the beer scene. It's like being a good place where we can introduce Korea's craft beer to, you know, to travelers or
so
just
then
even
what
Koreans.
are your thoughts on like, you know, when Amazing Brewery came out, for example, or Tap Public here in Itaewon, which kind of, it's the same idea, but it's a little more automated and it's not as sommelier oriented because no one's explaining stuff to you necessarily, but it does serve that purpose of introducing people. Because I'm actually now getting back into beer. I went through a long kick of only drinking cocktails at Southside for like years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I went through my like just shots of tequila kick, which I still love. But I'm definitely more like now, like, a few beers, maybe a shot, and I'm like grooving, you know? But I feel like I'm in the minority there. I don't know what the drinking like habits are nowadays.
I think people there's always going to be a cycle, you know?
Yeah.
It's always going to come back to like things that, you know, like you're like, oh, I love this. Oh, now I love it again, you know? Kind of thing. But I think the drinking scene is so different now than before. Like even Amazing Brewery, we actually helped launch their kitchen.
I remember. Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah.
You were making food with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so-
closing.
I recently heard that it's closing. And so that makes me a little sad. But honestly, the thing that makes me sad is that I don't know if Tap Public or even Amazing's expansion that really like, so I don't, Amazing and Hand & Malt in the past couple of years, even pre-COVID, their goal was to, get you 4 cans for Manon for the craft beer.
Yeah,
And again,
for sure.
like as a consumer, I don't mind that idea. But the problem is if you have a good brand and people value your beer, and all of a sudden now you're selling it for cheaper, why would they come to
A flagship location.
to the location? There's a lot of things about the business model, both Hand & Malt and Amazing, and a lot of these guys who try to scale up. Because I understand scaling up is the way that you bring costs down. And I actually read a really good article recently about Charles Shaw. You guys know the $2 Chuck, Trader Joe's, the $2 wines, and how basically he changed the game. Like, oh, you can get a good wine for $2. Like a whole bottle of wine, right? He did things in a way to kind of like change the scene, and I could see how you can make an argument for that. But like, I stopped carrying some of the beers from Hand & Malt because I was like, no, they now sell that same beer at the Pyeongjum
Down the street,
for way cheaper. I'm not going to sell the same
It's
thing.
crazy that Hand & Malt is in the Pyeongjum now. But I also heard he sold.
Yeah,
a while ago.
Hand & Malt sold to AB InBev, which is OB in Korea.
Right. Which is where Tiger worked.
Yeah.
How much did he sell for? What number did you hear?
I didn't really get a number.
Heard
but
15 million. And he had only been he like started at 3 years and sold it in 3 years or something crazy, right? Did you know that guy? His name was Brian, right?
I know Brian, but I didn't like poke him about the numbers.
Okay,
but
for sure.
But the other thing is, like, I know him on a personal level, and I know that he didn't get as much money as people think he did.
Oh, interesting.
Like when people came out and they were like really mad about him selling, I was like, first of all, it's probably a decision for his family.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing when I heard that.
I was like, congratulations. Like, even
Seriously.
again, like whether it's good or not, it's like you can't hate just that decision in and of itself.
Oh, no, you should definitely not. I mean, would you ever say someone came up to you and it's like, hey, we want to franchise Cali Kitch. We're just going to give you a lump sum and you're out. You know what I mean? Like,
So actually, 3 to 4 years ago, if you asked me this question, I'd be like, no, heck no. But actually, in the past, like even in the past couple months, we've been talking about how we would be interested to talk to people about Cali Kitchen or Gentleman Chicken, either selling. But again, I don't think we would sell to anybody.
Yeah.
But if it's like, I would love to like either be bought out or work with like a big food company. For any of our brands, like the recipes are made to be scalable, and so we're like, hey, we can make these sauces in a factory or whatever.
I definitely remember talking to you about the chili, being like,
Yeah.
this would be perfect if you could just buy this somewhere.
Actually, pre-COVID, we were working with someone to make that happen. And then I don't know if you know this, but our chili is off our menu now.
I know, dude. I literally said that out loud to Chris when we bought a bunch of food from Cali Kitchen the other day just to like refresh our palates. And I was like, where the fuck's the chili? Because I
Yeah.
swear I had it like 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, it's gone. And then I was like, but chili was like one of the first things that Chuck ever like made.
And
you know?
it's one of the few things I put my name on too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't-
What's the story behind that? Why'd you take it off?
So actually, so chili was one of the things that I would always go in to make. And you're right. It's one of those things that people loved, you know? But also, I don't know if you noticed, but we got rid of our pastrami as well.
I did see that too. Yeah.
And so, and the thing before that also that we got rid of is our Cali burrito, you know? And that's
With
like
the French fries in it, yeah.
the steak, you know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people ask like, hey, like, why'd you get rid of these things? Because people love them, you know? But the Cali burrito, it started out with the steak that we were using was like a skirt steak. It doubled in price. So when it doubled, like I was like, I could find other cuts or different ways to do it. But I actually like was looking at the data and then I thought, okay, like I'm going to try. We're just going to take it off the menu. When we did it, we had no dip in sales. Like anybody who would have ordered that is now ordering something else. And actually our kitchen's running smoother. We're making the same amount, if not more money.
Yeah.
So on a purely business level, it didn't hurt us, you know?
Yeah.
Even the pastrami, it was a very like talked about item, and it was very like highly acclaimed. But
Dude, you were the first I could think of. Except for Soul Club has had Reubens on their menu for like a decade.
Pissed about that though because I
Leo-
really wanted to eat it. I never
so
got a
good.
chance.
Leo did it in HBC as well. And
Leo.
couple people have done it.
Because now there's so many places.
If you're gonna do it right, you have to know what cut of meat you're using, and also like ours is modeled after like places like Katz and Langer's, you know. So these are the pastrami, like like godfathers for me, right? So for me, I'm like, no, we want to do it like at a certain level, certain quality. Again, so I think just that made it hard, and again, just like the amount of work needed to make pastrami happen was just like too crazy.
Yeah.
You know? The coordination and the storage and everything.
Will it ever come back on the menu in the future, do you think?
It has potential, but going back to the chili, why it's not on the menu, I'm sure you may have noticed we've been doing a lot of vegan stuff lately too.
Yes.
Actually, so the vegan chorizo is something that I have been actually planning since last year, like over a year ago, but
Who did it first? You or Bobby?
Huh?
You or Bobby? Who did the vegan chorizo first?
Oh, actually, they did it first
Okay.
before me, but I think I've talked about it with them, but it's not uncommon,
Yeah.
But I've been planning it way before I even they even High House was even a thing,
Yeah.
But the vegan chorizo for me, we did it for like an event that we did for a vegan event, and the response was like ridiculous.
Nice.
Where people were like, and even now to this day, people who order our cheesy chorizo, most people don't know that it's not real beef or like real meat. And I'm just surprised because I'm like, no, you could tell it's not real meat. You know?
Yeah, because you can draw new customers, obviously.
Right.
And I think it's great that you're just innovating and improving the menu. You know what I mean? I think like in art, there's always a saying of like, learn to kill your darlings, like something that you're really married to. You have to be willing to let go of it because it's going to improve your manuscript or your piece. And I think in restaurants, it's similar too. Like, it's not like you're going to forget how to make chili now. You're always going to be able to make it, but offering something new and dynamic and inviting on the menu, I think, is a good move. Because with that said, I've noticed that there are a lot more vegan options now. Veganism has taken off in a way that even 3 years ago when, what's that vegan place? Plant. Like when Plant first opened, I honestly was like, I don't think Korean people would really take to this. We're such a kogi culture. And I was proven wrong. Like now every restaurant has a vegan option. I eat vegan food now. It's like hella good. Was that you? Do you think that maybe you were adapting to or are adapting to these changes? Or, I mean, basically I want to know, Chuck, who do you consider to be even friendly competitors in this space? Because for Mexican food and Cali food, it's an inundated market now. I feel like every few months we see something on Restaurant Buzz of a new kyopo who like is making tacos or some dude making smash patties.
Like Greg, Cali Taco.
Yeah, like for example, like when you first met Greg, how did that conversation go?
Oh, actually, it was interesting because when I first heard of like a place called Cali Taco, I was like, what the F? Like we're Cali Kitchen, now you're calling yourself Cali Taco? Come on, come up with something original,
Yeah.
And so that, initially that does irk me a bit, that bugs me. Like honestly, even Cali Bangkok annoyed me, but I'm good friends with Pete, I'm just like, dude, why don't you just tell me, But I wasn't friends with Greg before he opened his place, you know? So Cali Taco opens up, and then later I talked to him, and he's like, I actually met him at Cali Kitchen once. He just came in as a customer, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking of doing something in Korea, all this stuff, and like he's like, actually, you encouraged me to pursue this thing, But he didn't mention Cali Taco or anything. The name, but
right.
I mean, he was like, yeah, you actually encouraged me to do it, and then I was like, no, I remember like us talking, and I was just trying to be supportive.
So were you kind of in a way grateful when that folded because they didn't have a very long run?
No, I mean, I'm never like happy to
for sure.
see it fail, but like.
Also, Greg has always found a way to rebound it with a new idea and a new restaurant.
Greg, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing was Greg ended up, like, for me, when Greg was there, the food I thought was great. I think it tasted a little different when he wasn't. And then I think he did, like, things didn't work out with them because they didn't know how to operate the people that were running it with Greg. And so Greg ended up leaving,
Right.
And so for me, after he left, I'm like, why would I go to Cali Taco? You know?
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of the sad
How
part.
about like, I realized this. I've had this thought before. I feel like in the F&B Itaewon scene, there are like some of you guys are really tight and you guys hang out a lot. Like, I feel like you're that way with the South Side guys, obviously. And then there's like other restaurateurs that I don't know if you guys are as close to. For example, like James at Koreanos and Nori is not really in your guys' crew. You know what I mean? Or like, for example, the guy who owns Bao Bar or the guy who owns Rockadoodle. Like, they're not really in your guys' orbit. Is that something that you've sensed too, like in terms of like a boys club or kind of like having your own clique with the F&B guys?
So, I mean, I think there are people that you do end up being closer to. I mean, that's just the way with even people, right?
No, for
there's
sure.
people that you hang out with. There's people that you don't. You know, I mean, and there's people that you're friends with, but you don't hang out with as much.
Right,
you know?
right.
I guess rewinding a little bit back, and Kenny from Vatos, or Kenny who used to be at Vatos now, like there was a point where like a lot of there's like I think there's some picture with like a bunch of the restaurant people, you know, and this was when we were all playing poker together.
I remember those nights, yeah.
And there was like this period where he was going around saying Kyopo Revolution or Kyopo Renaissance, you know? He was like Kyopo Renaissance. And for me, I actually really
You didn't
hated
like that,
it.
yeah. I can tell you didn't like that.
I was like, oh man, like what is this, you know?
Yeah.
And again, like I love Kenny. He's a good guy, but I just thought because as much as like Kyopos can feel like like this like
A community.
community and tied together. I also heard from non-Kyopos where they're like we don't get like like other people felt very excluded from this.
No, totally. I can see that.
And then I was like, first of all, I'm not privy to whatever, you know?
Right. It's not like you're like the head of the mafia or anything like that.
Right,
You're just friends with who you're friends with.
Yeah, and I'm friends with those guys, but also like I mean, we felt out of the loop a lot of the Itaewon stuff too. Like for instance, like whenever they're having like I don't know, like the Save Itaewon or we're making Itaewon shirts.
I was just gonna bring that
or
up.
like Itaewon beer.
Yeah.
They actually never invite us to that.
I know, I heard about that,
And then later on, we're like, hey, why wouldn't you like? We're one of the places known for craft beer. Why wouldn't you ask us to be a part of it? It actually legitimizes.
I really feel like I felt that whole Save Itaewon marketing campaign kind of was trying to include those restaurants that were not really on the Kyopo radar. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
And I
don't
feel
know.
like for them, they must have felt a little bit vindicated to be like, we're all suffering, but at least now we can do our own kind of in-group thing.
Well, for me, I think it started by a couple core people. Like, so I know, like for like the couple things that we just talked about, the Save Itaewon, and also I think the Itaewon beer.
Which is that its own brewery?
So it's like a
branded beer for Itaewon. Who like makes it though? Is it Gorilla?
It's Gorilla. So it's outsourced to Gorilla, but it's like, you don't have to be the manufacturer to say that it's your brand. You know?
Right.
So you can have a brewery without actually having a brewery. You know. And
also,
so,
wait, I'm so sorry, but my neighbor's doing construction, and I hope it doesn't fuck up our audio. But let's just keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, the Itaewon beer. I mean, it's like started by a couple guys. I think it's Naked Wings, the Vatos guys, and then like it. So there were places that carried it, but like I found out about it, so I went to the initial like kind of pre-launch to taste it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like it's not bad, but yeah, we kind of get invited later onto these things.
Yeah.
So it does feel like, oh, I guess we're not really part of that.
Yeah.
But I guess the guys we are closest with is probably like the Southside guys, and then even Wendell from Pussyfoot. Wendell and Lois.
For sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we're close enough with them where if they ask us, to help out, or vice versa, like they've helped us out with a lot of stuff, and like even Robbie when his family had that hurricane, like fundraiser because of the hurricane. I mean, like I was there, and I think I made like 200 tacos that day.
Wow.
And then like I think our staff, like my staff, after we closed Cali, came to Southside, and they're like, Chuck, you don't even work this hard at Cali. Like, what are you doing here?
I mean, the community is a beautiful thing about the F&B industry, and I think that resonates with a lot of locals who go to your guys' restaurants and bars, is feeling connected to the community and to the owners.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some more beef going on under the surface. For example, Chuck, considering that you are one of the lasting taco places in Itaewon. Like, remember Don Charlie, which
Yeah.
I thought was terrific. I really liked Don Charlie, but I think they were overambitious with the concepts of what they were trying to do. And then obviously there's El Pino, which when they came on the scene was like a fucking hammer to like the Mexican food scene. Honestly, that was Chef D coming out guns ablaze and being like, "You guys fucking suck. Like, I'm here." And I definitely remember reading his posts on Restaurant Buzz and being like, "This is so dramatic." Like, he's like just straight up calling everyone like a piece of shit, you know? And then when I met Chef D, I was like, dude, I don't even want to say anything to this guy. He's like really intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, he's super intense. I think a lot of people get intimidated by him. I mean, but for me, it's always like, it always does come down to the product a bit, because I've had situations where I'm like, oh, I'm not friends with this guy, or I don't like this guy. But if I like their product, I'm always gonna be like, no, their product's good. You know?
Sure, yeah.
So, because I can't lie about that stuff, you know. So, the thing I respected about D's food is that I still felt like when he came onto the scene, there was still nothing like it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was I would define.
Although Masa kind of had that a little bit before then.
But D was way before Masa.
Oh yeah,
you know?
that's right.
You know?
He had that
like
brick and
Masa
mortar.
came later, and even Masa, I think they're doing something very different. El Pino for me is home style Mexican food. Like that's how, or at least that's how I think of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one else is really doing like a home style, like, you know, Mexican food. They're doing something that's very specific, you know. And even like, I love Villa Guerrero, but I don't think that's like a home style. You know, like that's still like a street or Mexican.
It feels like a very street Mexican food spot,
Yeah.
Villa Guerrero. Yeah. Have you had Taqueria Stan?
Yeah, several times.
Yeah. I like Taqueria Stan. I've noticed for me, like, I just go through different phases of what is hitting my tongue the right way, you know? And I've realized for me, it's like a lot of novelty stuff. Like when I got really into smash burgers over the last 3 or 4 months because I was so used to eating more succulent and juicy patties, like either at your place or at Gilbert or, you know, and then having just like a smash patty. Dude, remember when you did the Oklahoma burger?
Yeah.
That was mind blowing for me. And then I had Bobby's, he did it at High House too, and it was so fucking good. I just realized like I love smash patties, you know? Like, or right now I'm going through that phase.
Right.
Or like with Taqueria Stan, I'm like, oh, fucking just like melted cheese with like white onion and meat and like a little bit of lime is like all I need, you know? Like, it's just so
But do they give you lime?
I have my own limes. When I order it, I use my own lime. I know, because
you just said lime, and I was like, wait, do they give you cucumbers?
Apparently, they put their own lime on it. That's what they told me, but they don't put enough. I mean, if you're listening, Jaehoon, if you're listening, we need a little bit more lime on your tacos, buddy. Are there any? But like, for example, remember Pollo? What was it? Poco Loco. Now he owns La Cruda.
Yeah, Paco Loco.
You know Paco Loco, right?
Yeah.
I remember I never liked Paco Loco when he was there near Haebangchon. But then when I went to La Cruda, I loved it. You know what I mean? Maybe he like changed his menu. I'm not really sure. But I just remember in your area alone, there's like 4 or 5 Mexican or like, you know, quote unquote Mexican places.
Yeah.
Vatos, Coreanos, you know, Taco Chili, rest in peace. And then, you know, when Paco Taco was there, and then Don Charlie's, then you guys, LP, you know, it's just like 7 places within like, you know, a 10-minute walking distance. Was that like tough for you though? Like,
I mean, for me, it's always been like, I don't ever want to be doing anything that anybody else is doing. So if I'm ever introducing something that someone else is like already like doing a great version, like you'll never see that usually happen with me. Usually by the time I'm introducing it, it's like, oh, no one's doing it quite like this. You know, so we're always adding value when we do stuff.
Yeah.
We're not doing stuff just to do it.
And you're also not just a taco place, right? You have a
Right.
bigger menu. But it just occurs to me that there was a time when Mexican food was so rare in Korea. And then I think you and Vatos kind of came in, and maybe Coreanos arguably kind of came in at that right moment. And then there was this big explosion, you know? And then I think now it's like New York style pizza is kind of like having a big moment, you know, where they just opened up that new slice shop near where the street churros used to be in Kyungridan. You know what I mean? Like, and like you could say Gino's might have sparked that, but I wouldn't even say Gino's is like the best New York style pizza in New York anymore.
What for you?
I honestly thought Brick Oven was the best for a long time.
Okay.
The Gangnam location, not the Itaewon one, but the
Okay.
Gangnam location like blew my mind when I first had it.
Yeah.
Gino's definitely is good, but I stopped ordering it. I don't know. I like now I'm really into Homer pizza. Again, I think my palate just changes.
Really, Homer?
Yeah.
For me, pizza divides up into two categories. Like it's either in the $30 range or the $20 range.
Yeah.
And so for me, Geno's and Hokey Pokey are in that $30 range. I think Hokey Pokey might be one of the best in Korea. Like they use better ingredients than almost anybody, you know? Geno's, the only thing I always say is I always ask them to bake it harder. Like, and when they do that, I think it's pretty good.
You're right, dude. I wish I had a little more burnt edges or something.
Yeah, but then again, there aren't a lot of times for me personally where I, in my mind, I'm like able to justify a $30 pizza. You know?
Yeah. That's why Tom's is so great because it's like the $20
So that's
price
why
point.
on the other end, for me, it's Tom's and Magpie.
Yeah.
Because those are the pizzas like for instance, Justin will go to pizza school. I'll never go to pizza school. I'm like, for me, that's
Is
a
that
way.
that Korean chain?
Yeah.
Lord,
How much is
yeah.
a pizza at pizza school? It's like 5,000원?
Yeah.
No, it's like I'm not sure.
It's like dumb
It's
cheap
like,
though.
It's like, but I can't like for me, I just can't justify paying that. Like for me, it's still like I can pay $1 for something and it could be too expensive. I could pay $100 for something and feel like it's a bargain. You know?
Yeah.
Just depends what I feel like I'm getting in return.
Right.
And for me, like I'd rather go to like so usually when I'm thinking pizza, I'm thinking Tom's and Magpie first because that's kind of in the price range that I'm like most comfortable spending all the time.
Yeah.
You know? But if I want something nice, then like I'll order from Geno's or I'll go down to Hokey Pokey.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to Hokey Pokey, we should go.
Do you remember that guy Pizza Iconic?
Yeah, Paul posted something recently.
Yeah, they're
saying
closing.
They're closing.
Yeah.
I only had it once.
I had it once and I thought it was so good.
I thought it was overly hyped.
Yeah, maybe. Because I remember I had to go out there. I had to this guy only sold 20 pies a day. He was kind of known to be
He's
like
a pizza
elitist.
Nazi.
Yeah, he's a pizza Nazi. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, but and then he'd also do this bullshit where it's like randomly he'd be like, I'm closed today.
Yeah.
And like people would travel all the way to his fucking location and look it out. Yeah, seek it out.
So I thought the pizza was good. I don't know if I wanted to ever go through
Go through the trouble of finding it and getting it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that good.
We need to refresh our memories. But okay, Hokey Pokey, I'm going to put it on my list. We should go for sure.
All right, yeah.
Oh, I like their logo. It's so cute.
We should eat more often.
We should, Chuck. We should.
I haven't even been to a restaurant with this guy since. Well,
last
we
week,
went,
yeah.
but
But it's been a while, yeah. Well, speaking of COVID rules, I mean, we don't have to delve into like the whole devastation of COVID. I think all the listeners would understand like how that affected the restaurant business.
Yeah,
But luckily you were able to rebound in a big way because you were featured on a very big television show. Can you tell us a little bit about how being featured on this program has helped your business, or even like what kind of new customers it drew in?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is we were on 백종원's 국민의 음식. So it's like the show is highlighting food that have become Korean, like in the sense that it's like this is like our food, because like we love it and now it's become such a thing in Korea.
Right.
It's a little bit of like a documentary mixed in with like this show,
Like history kind of. Yeah.
Where they're trying to be like, hey, the more you know about where your food's coming from, you're gonna enjoy it more. So Baek Jong-won is the most famous chef in Korea, and Baek Jong-won only came that one day to our place to film and eat our burger, right? But before, it's the producer and the writers who found us.
Right.
And actually, we get a lot of like random calls. So we just thought it was like, what is this BS marketing? No, because we've actually had like there are companies that will call you, and then later you realize, oh, you're for like this weird like pay-per-view channel that like. And you want us to pay $4,000 to be on your show? Like it's like, no, like that's fine, we're good, you know?
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of like weird things that come your way, so you got to kind of like take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But they contacted us, they called our store, and then I'm like, hey, let's meet, you know? And what they told us is that they've been talking to a lot of people about burgers because they've been researching and going to places for a year. And they said, hey, like your name keeps coming up in the conversation. They actually approached us very cautiously. They're like, hey, we're not saying we want to film here, but we want to check out your space. We might want to film here. But, we also wanted to just see what you guys do, like what you guys add to the burger scene, because we're trying to, do a burger documentary.
Right.
And then, like, literally, the first day they came, I was like, I wasn't sure what they were looking for. So maybe I just kind of, like, just talked a lot, because for the first 45 minutes, like they didn't even try our food. I was just talking to them. I was just like explaining like, this is our philosophy. This is why we do things a certain way. This is what I think a craft burger is or whatever. Like, you know, like just trying to make sure that they knew what kind of place we were. And hopefully I'm hoping out of all the stuff I said, maybe they're like, oh, we want to use this for the program.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm hoping.
But they end up using like a bunch of it, right? Or something like that.
So it expanded in like a crazy way. So they said they tried our burger. They loved it. And then they're like, hey, the next time they came, they're like, hey, we definitely want to film here. But don't expect too much. You know, it might just be a couple minutes. And also, initially, they didn't tell me that it was going to be a Paek Jong-won show. No, because they told me it was Paek Jong-won, Kyuhyun, and then Mark Tedo. Like, I guess the white dude that they talked to, you know?
Yeah, I see.
And then they told me, they're like, hey, would you be willing to talk more? Because we're thinking of maybe not having him, but have you talk more on the show. I think that's what gave us the in to like our segment is almost 10 minutes. I think.
Yeah, it's long.
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
So the whole episode is about like history of burgers in Korea, and we're in the last scene where it's like just suje burger. You know, like it's like like this is what the burger is becoming in Korea. You know? And
I heard Paek Jong-won really liked the butter burger.
Yeah,
Which I was like, when I heard that, I was like, fuck, of course, dude, that burger's amazing.
right. So the butter burger, at least the response was fine.
Oh,
but for the
double burger.
they feature the butter burger and the pastrami burger.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but the reaction for the pastrami burger is actually for the double burger, which is our standard burger.
I mean, I will say, though, the pastrami burger is fucking great. Like, I really miss that item. I came twice in one weekend with Saul. I remember because I went once and I was like, this is really good, Chuck. You're like, thanks. And then the next day I was like with Saul and we came back and ate it again. And then I brought like clients there. I introduced a lot of Kyopol like families, like because I work in education.
Yeah.
I brought a lot of like Korean American parents that I worked with, and they'd be like, dude, I haven't had a burger or like anything like this in Korea. I've been living here 20 years. So like, it's kind of insane. Yeah. But so then how much like, I know that you started doing lunchtime delivery and service. You never did lunch before.
So we were actually planning to open for lunch starting July because I don't know if you guys remember, but July was supposed to be like, okay, everything's gonna be better. Everyone's excited. Like, you know,
eight people in one
like,
table.
There's so much like, you know, buzz about how good it was gonna be.
Yeah.
We get to July and we're like, ah, shit, this is not good, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, did we shoot ourselves in the foot, you know? And a lot of things are like, what are you prepared for and how can you, you know, adapt? And I think one of the reasons why we've even survived this long is because we've been adapting, you know? And
Do you like ever have to, if you have leftover ingredients that might go quote unquote bad or something? I always wondered this with restaurants. Do you ever like barter with restaurants that you know might need? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, for example, say you have a bunch of lettuce, you know, that and some of it's gonna maybe go bad. You know, do you just throw it away, or is it like, hey, do you guys over at this Korean restaurant next door? We know you guys have sangchu. Like, do you guys want this or want to buy it discount? Or like, if you have a lot of extra beef, instead of refreezing it, you know, maybe you want to just like talk to like Robbie at Southside and be like, you guys want to buy some of this at
So just to be clear, we never freeze our beef.
Right, I know.
We're like the only place that doesn't use frozen beef for our burgers or our steak, you know? But I guess for us, the way we manage stuff, it's never like, if anything, if we got product that's less fresh, then we do throw it away or we talk to our vendor. But it's never like unless you're at a crazy volume, you don't really have enough to sell, and it's like going to be like a small amount. And if you're like, avocados are expensive, so they make sense. But like lettuce, you're just probably eating a cost or tossing it out. You know. I see. And so if it makes sense, and also if it makes sense, like we'd rather sell certain things cheaper or give it out, you know, than it go bad. Like earlier this year, I don't know if you remember, but you know, Justin and we overestimated some like chicken. And then it was like a snowstorm.
And then you were doing like buy one, get one free or something.
Yeah, it was like half off, you know, and then just like everybody in the, like we were like, okay, we're never going to go through this chicken. Hopefully let's sell at least half and just, you know, like let more people try it. We sold out that day and we're like, we
It was
can't.
something. It was something like 20 chickens, right? I think I remember.
Yeah, it was 20 or 30, I think. Yeah, something like that.
And then you kept updating the post, being like, "All right, there's like 3 left," and I was like, "What the fuck? Already? You already sold like 27
It was
chickens."
insane because initially the people that came, they were like, "Oh yeah, can I get one?" And then some people were like, "Wait, how many do you have? Wait, can I get 2?"
Yeah,
You know, like, so
yeah.
they were getting multiple because they realized they could just
It's a good
take it
deal.
home and,
Really
and,
good
and
deal.
eat it later. you know?
Yeah. At the lowest point of COVID, when I talked to other restaurant guys, like Robbie would tell me, dude, the entire day, not a single person came into Southside. Like it was like a Tuesday or something. I was like, holy shit, dude, that's, and he's like, I feel bad because, Paulina's just standing there for like 6 hours shift, not doing anything. And I'm sure at Cali, there must have been days where it's like 1 or 2 customers order or something like that. But now, what kind of difference? Are you selling more burgers than you ever have in your guys' history? Or is it kind of hitting 2017 peaks when you guys were doing really well in Kyungridan, or?
So because of the TV show, I think we are selling more burgers than we've ever sold. But the biggest thing is our lunches are busier than our dinners. A lot of times,
and I think it's great that you guys are finally doing lunches, because many a time I had opened up an app being like, I want a burger for lunch, and I'll go to Cali Catch and it'll be like, opens at 5. And I'm like, fuck, that's right. Chuck doesn't open till 5.
Right. So, I mean, for us, if it ever made sense, we were going to do it. It's not that we were like just against lunch. It's just that we're like, I don't know if there's enough customers to justify
Oh,
this.
for sure. Because weekday foot traffic up in there is not like huge. Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
But I think after the TV show / also if things are closing at 9, people are less likely to be like, hey, let's go for dinner at 7.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, let's try to pull things back earlier so we get a little more time, And so that's why I think lunches have been, I think we went from Saturday evenings being like our busiest to Saturday, Sunday lunches being our busiest currently,
Damn.
So, yeah, I mean.
Dude, how many burgers do you think you guys sell on a busy day? I wonder, is it like more than 100? I have no idea how these numbers work out.
Yeah. I mean, like we can peak out at like 100,
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but it's weird because you would think it would just be like our burger. Like, so I was like, man, like I could tell what people came in for when I see them, But the thing I was surprised about is like still like 30% of the people, they're not even there for the burger. Like they're just like, we have like groups that are just eating nachos and tacos, you know? And so that's what I like is that it hasn't made us like a place that does like a one trick,
Yeah.
Even though burgers have exploded, it's still not like, oh, that's like, there's some restaurants that get really big, exposure wise, they get a lot of exposure, and then everybody only orders 2 things off their menu.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the explosion in burgers, that takes us to our lightning round, Chuck. So what I want to do for this one is I'm just going to name like a restaurant in this area. And all you have to say is like yes or no if you fuck with it or you don't. And if you don't, just why? And if you do, maybe one thing about it that you support and you do like. So the first one, and I already know the answer to this, is Billionaire Box. Or is it Billion Box?
It's Billion Box.
Billion Box. So this is like a slider type place that's modeled after White Castle, I'd say.
Right.
It opened up, their slogan is, we believe all other burgers are shit.
Right.
And I remember reading that and I was like,
wow.
that's a really aggressive slogan, I was like, who wrote this? And it doesn't help that it's also modeled after Supreme. It's meant to look like a Supreme store or something.
Right.
So like nothing was really working off. And then I know that you like that rubbed you the wrong way. Did you ever end up trying his food or talking to this guy?
I've tried the burger twice. Actually, I met one of the owners, me and Justin, we met him this past week. And
oh my God.
Yeah,
Just
it's like just recently.
You just happen to have bats with you.
and swinging around a chain.
I mean, I can't say.
How did you meet him? Did he like come into the restaurant?
No, actually, the funny thing was we have a mutual friend, Vivian.
Okay.
And she needed to move her fridge or something, like a
So
fridge.
you guys met up?
So we show up and then we see this guy. It's like, hey, so you're the Billion Box guy, kind of thing.
Dude, how'd that go?
We got pretty friendly. So as in Justin ended up spending time with him and talking with him for like over an hour and a half after. They just like talking about like work and what they do, we didn't even talk about like the other burgers or shit stuff.
I was gonna say you should have brought that up and been
No,
like, hey, man.
I would have if I was kind of, but I actually, the thing for me was the 2 times I tried it One time I thought it wasn't bad. The other time I thought it was not good. Like the meat wasn't as good.
Our friend Cindy, when she found out you were like didn't like it, she like decided to order it and then texted all of us being like, "Chuck's right. This place fucking sucks." I still haven't tried it, but I just thought that was funny because she was like, "Yeah, I don't support this guy either." And so I feel like there was a collective. Like, especially in the RBS, Restaurant Buzz Seoul Facebook group, I think everyone just wanted to hate this guy so bad, which made me feel kind of bad.
I think there's also a lot of people who tried it because of that.
Oh, I see.
So
yeah,
I saw actually both. So it's like, it's like, is all marketing good marketing? I don't know.
True. Okay, so Billionaire Box, the owner seems like a nice enough guy, but Chuck says, eh. All right, next one, Burger War. Did you ever get to try this place?
Burger War's new.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
I
one,
think it's closed already.
No, it's open. It's the one in the El Pino building.
Yeah. Oh, it's still there?
Yeah,
I felt like I didn't see it. Okay, have you tried it?
I have not tried it.
Okay. Jay, have you tried it?
I haven't, no.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not interested though, because I don't think he grills his onions, and I don't know if I want
I
white
have
onion.
to have fresh white onions.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
that's my
But
thing.
I'm surprised you don't have Burger Snack.
What's that? I haven't even heard of it. Burger snack.
That's the other one that like
No, I have had that burger is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
it once. It's a smash burger. It's so good.
I'm looking forward to this next one.
Yeah. So number 3 on the list, No Stress Burger.
No Stress Burger. Isn't that your favorite burger? You have a
It's,
lot.
I like that burger. Yeah, I don't
Your
mind
voice
it.
got very high when you.
Well, I took the sticker off my laptop, Chuck, because of you. Okay.
You're worried that I was going to give you.
What is your gripe with No Stress? Is it like the owner? Is it just the food itself?
No, I actually don't like. So for me, there's two things. First thing is, do you remember what was there before No Stress?
Yeah, white supermarket.
white burger, right?
That place was really good too.
Yeah. So they literally almost carbon copied.
Yeah.
Like No Stress copied them.
Yeah.
And so for me, that makes it a little sad because I'm just like, hey, I'd rather have Gilbert, who did it, the OG,
Yeah, true.
succeed. So that's my first thing. Second is actually the first time I had No Stress, I was like, oh, it kind of tastes like Gilbert, but Gilbert's old place. But I still like Gilbert's a little bit better, but it's still not bad.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. The last 2 times I tried it, I thought it was really bad. It's like now
too greasy, like
too much just grease.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like a puddle of grease,
Yeah. Okay, we know that you like Taqueria Stan. How about Vatos when it first opened versus Vatos now?
Vatos. There were specific dishes that were made by specific people, like
Yeah.
even the recipes. So Jeff King, who was one of the main guys at Manimal before, I think he was the one who made the shrimp taco. And
their shrimp taco is pretty good.
I thought that was really good when
Yeah.
I first had it. I didn't know that he was the one behind it until way later. But I was like, oh, that's why it was so good because he's a food guy. You know?
Right.
So before they had so many food guys or guys who were bringing a lot to the table, I don't know if they have a food guy anymore.
Yeah.
So
I will say though that their kimchi carnita fries, I know like now they're ubiquitous and every place makes it, but when they first came out with that shit, I was like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
this is like the definition of fusion Korean Mexican food. Yeah.
And I think for me that was my pivot because when they came onto the scene, it was very clearly fusion, and I was like, I want something a little less fusion.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more classic to kind of what I expect from California.
Yeah. I haven't been there in so long, but I'll go in periodically, like maybe once a year.
Yeah.
With like a relative who like is Korean and just wants like to go to Vatos because they think it's like the best restaurant in Itaewon.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the food. I've never like had a bad meal there, but I have many times been like, I wish we were just eating another place, like a different Mexican restaurant, Okay, how about Linus, 2016 versus now?
So Linus, I don't know if I have a clear recollection of 2016, but for me, the thing that I will say about Linus is that, remember when I told you how like I made, I was making like 200 tacos for Southside earlier? That day was really interesting because Linus donated a brisket and Manimal donated a brisket. And actually at that time, I think I was getting close to thinking, I think Manimal might be better than Linus on some things, But that day, I tried the brisket both like fresh, I was like, oh, Linus is so much better. And so for me, that's the thing. I think when Linus's food is good, I think it's very good.
Yeah.
It can be. But I think he's running such a big operation. And
I
I think
agree.
so many hands are touching it.
I agree.
Sometimes you're not getting the benefit of
Absolutely.
like what it could be.
I used to eat at Linus probably once a week for a solid year, especially when the lines kind of died down. When we first opened, we all remember it was like you had to wait 30, 40 minutes every hour of the day. And then when it got kind of normal, I would go there a lot. And at a certain point, our friend Chris was like, oh, it's too greasy for me. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? We eat greasy food all the fucking time, But and then that kind of started in our friend group, people being like, oh, I can't do Linus. It's like my stomach can't handle it. And then maybe I started noticing that it was a little greasy. I do think Linus's quality control fluctuated at one point, But I was just so happy to see also how he like rebounded from COVID and like again, like the community kind of came around and to help him. And Linus is also just such a great guy, like he's like a genuinely great person. So
right, he's one of these guys where people like no one's gonna be like, oh,
you can't say an ill word about him.
He's just a nice guy, Like I think that's kind of the power of like community and like what Linus brings,
Are there any people in the F&B industry that you think are like the opposite of Linus in terms of like they don't really embody those values, or they're kind of a little bit ungracious or even aggressive in the terms of like territory or cuisine?
I think food has always been like, even for me, like the people, like even the thing I said about Greg, right?
Yeah.
It's like my initial reaction is actually different from how I end up feeling.
Yeah.
And even like something that's funny is even Tom from Tom's Pizza, we're pretty close too. Mm-hmm. But my initial reaction was in my first conversation with him, like he was the owner of an Instagram account that's connected with hot sauces. Okay. I think it was called like Soul Sauce or something like that, And when I found out it was him, I was like, mother effer.
Why? Because like
no, because I was at that time I was like thinking I'm gonna start a sauce company, and no one else is thinking of this, and I was just like mother effer, right? And then when we kept talking, I just realized this guy and I were like thinking about the same things. Like we started like showing one card at a time, and he would be like, oh, like even for the hot ones,
Last Dab.
The Last Dab.
Yeah.
Even that, I was like, when did you get Last Dab? And then I realized him and I were both on the pre-order. Like we both ordered it before other people.
Tom is such a character. Yeah. Like I've had a few conversations. He's like very friendly, but every time I'm like, is he just drunk? Because he kind of like mumbles a lot.
Yeah. So kind of fun fact about Tom is he's been sober for I think at least 4 or 5 months now.
Oh, okay.
And he's more mumbly when he drinks.
Yeah.
But I think now he's a little bit more lucid, and he's like, but yeah, he's still.
He's a character. He's a character.
He's still Tom. Where you're like, oh, I thought that was only drunkenness, and no, this is still just Tom.
Yeah. Okay, just a few more. I want to know what you feel about Chubby T's or PWA, Pizza with Attitude. Do you know those guys at all?
Yeah. I know. I mean, like, what do you want to know?
I don't know, because I feel like I only met the Chubby T guy once or twice, but he was very bitter when I met him because Itaewon was going through the whole fucking thing.
I see.
He had like poured a lot of time and savings into building this restaurant. Didn't feel like people were responding in a way, and even I felt on Instagram, and it'd be a lot of like angry, like rants about like fuck this COVID shit. Not aimed at anyone in particular, just kind of venting his frustration, and then he just kind of disappeared. And so like I didn't really get to know him, but he seemed like a nice enough guy. Just like I don't know if you guys hung out with him.
So actually, I saw him like last week, just like just by chance. So I visited his place. The first time I visited was with Tom and Greg.
Okay.
And when we three went in, I feel like he was the least friendly to me, and I guess, and so later on, and actually, I had a pretty good experience when I went. Uh-huh. Later on, like I'm hearing through other people that, like he
like doesn't like you or something.
Yeah, he doesn't like me or he has beef with me, and I was like, wait, we do? Like I wasn't like aware, because for me it was not an attack on him. I just was saying I didn't get it, you know. But the thing I really appreciate about Jin, Chubby T, was like we had mutual friends, and like I guess he vented a little bit, and then so when
word gets around, right?
Word gets around, and then he saw me at Southside, and he's like, hey Chuck, can we talk? And then so that's what I really appreciate. He did that,
Cool.
and I was like, dude, first of all, I didn't mean to come off that way.
Yeah, I
If
wasn't trying
did-
to like be critical.
Yeah,
too
yeah.
critical,
I was just like, no, I mean, I was being critical, but it wasn't like meant to be an attack on him, you know?
Yeah.
And so like once we kind of like smashed it, like, you know, it was like all hugs and like, you know, I mean, Chubby T, first of all, he's like one of the nicest guys. Like I think one of the things that made it tough for him is this is his first time in F&B.
Yeah.
You know, like he has a music background, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I think that made it really hard for him. Considering it was COVID,
Yeah.
I think he did pretty well. I think for me, I thought Chubby T and also Coley, they were becoming neighborhood spots.
Oh my
you know?
God, Coley popped off, man. Yo.
Yeah.
I walked by the other day. I was like, "What the fuck is this? The new South Side? Like, what the hell's going on?"
Yeah. Is everybody making out or is this COVID? You know?
Seriously.
Like, what's going
and like,
on?
I feel like their clientele is like generally a little bit hotter than the clientele at bars that I go. I'm like
Shots
walking by, like
fired.
all the girls are like wearing summer dresses with like jewelry and shit. All the guys are like tall white guys. I'm like, this is like a weird
Really?
snapshot. That's the vibe I get. Yeah. Okay, so
Wow.
so Chubby T's though, we approve. Hopefully, Chubby T, Jin, if you're listening, open up a new place. I'm trying to decide the last. Okay, I'm gonna just the last one. Okay, Taco Chili Chili.
Taco Chili. I think it's an institution, but I've actually never eaten there.
Oh man,
Yeah, so
I kind
wish-
of had a feeling you were.
I
Gonna say
wish I had a reference
Yeah.
for Taco Chili. Like, as in, I wish I had tried it once.
Yeah.
All I do know is that, like, one of our vendors used to work with them, and then they're like, yeah, they used to be so busy that, you know, like, we used to have to bring, like, so many boxes of just lettuce for them, or, you know,
Yeah.
or little things like that.
They were like, because that's probably for some people, it's on the border. Was kind of like their childhood Mexican food. Whenever I visited Korea, it was always Taco Chili.
Really?
Yeah, and like so, I grew up eating his burritos, and I crave them all the time. And I don't know what it is. I think it's like a mixture of cumin, olives. Like he just puts a little few things in there that other people don't.
Yeah.
But
I wish I tried it.
I know. I wish you did too, because I would love for you to recreate his burrito. But in any case, rest in peace, Taco Chili Chili. Chuck, thank you so much for being on this episode of the Side Dish Podcast.
Yeah.
The final question I'll
Yeah.
leave us with is, what's your favorite thing about owning a restaurant and being in this, group in this community? What's like your favorite thing, and maybe what's something you feel like the community can work on?
I think my favorite thing is the people.
Yeah.
Like, first thing is we get to meet a lot of people because the customers that come in through our doors, just like the stories that we hear, I think are just like, it's just cool because they all come to you, Second is just the other restaurateurs or the people in the industry. Like, there's people that you don't know very well, but you get close very quickly because you know that their pain is your pain.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I know what you're going through, And I think, I think that's in a weird way, also as an expat or a Korean American in Korea, it is a weird reverse immigration situation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So you're here and you're like, you're not the majority, even though you thought you might be because you came to Korea,
So the people for sure.
Yeah, I think that's.
And then what's something that we could change in this community, or something that you wish would change, or just something you just hate, straight up just hate?
I don't think enough people approach it with respect for food. I mean,
Like, you think they're coming in it like with an opportunity to make a quick buck off a trend?
I think most people think food is an easy business to get into, and you're right. It is easy to get into, but it's like hold'em poker. It's like easy to learn the rules, but doesn't mean it's not a very complex game to play.
Sure.
Every part of the service food chain, it's like, these people work their tails off.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if most people understand that. Like, sometimes I know too much, so I can deconstruct stuff, and it makes it hard for me to enjoy.
Yeah, because you see how it's working behind the curtain.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I could tell that they used like this really cheap
They're
cheese.
cutting corners or
and
something.
I could see all of that, and it just bugs the F out of me.
So you want more, you want people to treat it with more respect.
Right.
Yeah. Well, once again, Chuck, thank you so much for being a guest. Thank you guys for listening. And with that said, we'll catch you guys next season or in the next episode or whatever we decide to do.
Wait, is this a season ending thing?
It might be.
Wait, what? How come I'm hearing this is a season finale? I would have came in like a suit or something.
It's fine,
You know?
dude. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.